I still remember the exact moment my blood turned to ice. I pulled up to my own driveway after a routine grocery run, only to see 3 white construction trucks parked where my back pasture should have been. Men in hard hats were unloading lumber, and a woman in a lavender cardigan was waving them around like she owned the place. She did not own the place. I did. My name is Elena Vargas. I bought this 40-acre slice of quiet outside Harmony Heights, Texas, 3 years ago after my divorce. I wanted space. Real space. No neighbors peeking over fences. No one telling me what color my mailbox could be. I fixed up the old farmhouse, planted a vegetable garden, adopted 2 rescue dogs named Max and Ruby, and started raising chickens just because I could. Peace. That was the only thing I asked for. Then the Harmony Heights Homeowners Association decided peace was bad for business. Started small. A few weeks earlier, I'd noticed survey stakes popping up along my northern fence line like weeds. I pulled one out, tossed it in my truck bed, and thought nothing of it. Then the trucks arrived. I walked over, still in my gardening gloves, and found her, Patricia Pat Harrington, president of the Harmony Heights HOA for the last 8 years. Everyone called her Pat the Hat behind her back because she wore these ridiculous wide-brimmed sun hats even indoors. Today the hat was lavender, matching the cardigan, and she was tapping her clipboard like it was a gavel. "Excuse me," I said. "What are you doing on my property?" Pat turned slowly, as if I'd interrupted something sacred. Her smile was the kind you give a child who just asked a stupid question. "Elena, right? The one who never comes to meetings." She tilted her head. "This isn't your property. This section was redesignated as common use land in the 2022 amendments. We're building affordable weekend rentals for residents. It's going to boost property values. You should be grateful." "Oh, honey," she said, patting my arm like I was senile. "You didn't have to. The board voted. Majority rules. And you were absent." "I have the deed," I said quietly. Pat laughed. A short, practiced laugh. "Deeds get updated all the time. You're clearly confused. Happens to the best of us." I didn't argue. I just pulled out my phone and started taking pictures. Every truck, every pad, every cabin frame, and Pat, standing there with her clipboard like she was posing for a magazine. She noticed. Her smile tightened. "That's not necessary." "It is to me," I said and walked away. That night I called my lawyer Marisol Reyes. Marisol is the kind of attorney who once made a corporate CEO cry in deposition. She listened to my story without interrupting. "Send me the photos," she said, "and get your deed. We're going to the county clerk tomorrow." The next morning, the county clerk, a sweet older man named Roy, looked at my original deed, then at the blurry photocopy Pat had shown me and snorted. "This is your land. No easements, no transfers, no nothing. Whoever built on it did it illegally." Roy stamped copies for me like they were party favors. I drove back to my property, parked at the edge, and watched as the first renters arrived. A young couple pulled up in a rented SUV, unloaded coolers, and started setting up a hammock between 2 trees on my land. I sat on the tailgate of my truck, iced tea in hand, and waited. She spotted me eventually. Her face did something interesting, half smile, half grimace. "Elena, you're not supposed to be here," she called. "This is private HOA space." I held up the stamped deed. "County says otherwise." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. That can't be right." "It is," I said. "And I'm going to sit right here until you explain why you're building rentals on my property without permission." She huffed, turned on her heel, and marched back to her golf cart. I stayed, for 3 hours, just watching. Sometimes the best revenge is a lawn chair and silence. The next day, the hammering started again. Closer this time. They were installing a security gate, complete with keypad and Harmony Heights HOA, private property trespassers will be fined sign, right across my access road. I took more pictures. Then I called Marisol. "They're putting up a gate," I told her. Marisol's voice was calm. "Good. More evidence." By afternoon she had a cease and desist drafted, backed by the plat map, my deed, and photos of the gate being installed. We served it to the HOA office, a converted model home with fake flowers and a broken fountain. The process server handed the papers to Pat's vice president, a nervous man in khakis named Todd. Todd looked like he wanted to faint. That evening I drove back out. A family of 4 was barbecuing outside one of the cabins. The dad waved me over. "You with the HOA?" he asked. "No," I said. "I'm the one whose land they built this on without permission." He laughed, thinking I was joking. Then he saw my face. "Wait, seriously?" I handed him one of the flyers Marisol had me print. Plain English, bullet points, QR code to the county registry showing my name on the deed. He read it. Then he called his wife over. They read it together. By the time I left, they were packing their cooler. The next morning, half the cabins were empty. Pat was furious. She showed up at my gate in her white SUV, honked like she was summoning servants, and stepped out with a letter. "You're interfering with community operations," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm defending my property from people who think clipboards give them the right to steal land." She tried to hand me the letter. I didn't take it. "This is a formal warning," she said. "You're violating neighborhood harmony guidelines." "I'm not in your neighborhood," I said, "and you're on my land." Again. She threw the letter on the ground and stormed off. I picked it up, photographed it, and added it to the pile. The county investigator took one look and laughed. "This is fake. Bad fake." Pat's board started sweating. Then Marisol found the real bombshell. They'd applied for a federal tourism development grant, $350,000 for eco-friendly vacation rentals promoting local growth. They claimed unanimous resident approval and full ownership. Pat signed the application herself. I stared at the paperwork Marisol emailed me. "They got the money?" "Most of it," she said. "They spent it on the cabins. And they never filed taxes on the rental income." That's when we called the sheriff. Sheriff Delgado was a no-nonsense woman who hated HOAs more than most. She walked the property with me, took photos of everything. The gate, the signs, the trash cans labeled Harmony Heights guests only. "No permits," she said. "No septic approval. No electrical inspection. They're done." The court issued a temporary injunction. All rentals stopped. Cabins had to be vacated within 72 hours. The gate had to come down. Pat tried one last play, an emergency community meeting. Glossy flyers went out warning of external threats to neighborhood integrity. I wasn't invited. I went anyway. The clubhouse was freezing, folding chairs, stale donuts. Pat stood at the front, projector on, showing slides of happy families in the cabins. I stood in the back and listened. A man raised his hand. "Is it true you built on someone else's land?" Pat smiled thinly. "There was a misunderstanding about the property line. We believed it was communal." Another woman, "But the county registry says it's hers." Pat's smile slipped. "The registry can be outdated." I stepped forward. "Hi, I'm Elena Vargas. I own the land those cabins are on. I have the deed, the surveys, and the legal filings. Your president submitted forged documents and collected rent on my property. The court has frozen everything. And when this is over, I'm coming for damages." Silence. Then gasped. Pat tried to speak. I kept going. "You used HOA dues to fund this. You took federal money under false pretenses. That's fraud." A board member slipped out the side door. By the next morning, Marisol had 3 anonymous emails from HOA members. Screenshots, minutes, budgets. They'd planned it for months. Projected income, $200,000 a year. Pat's lawyer called. They wanted to settle. Quietly, I looked out at the empty cabins. Plastic chairs swaying in the wind. "They're scared," Marisol said. "They should be." The federal investigators arrived 2 days later. Black sedans. Navy jackets. They loaded boxes, laptops, servers. Pat wasn't there. Her treasurer, a man named Barry, was escorted out like a criminal. The IRS got involved next. The rental income had been funneled through a fake LLC called Harmony Retreats LLC, registered to a P.O. box. No taxes filed. They'd structured payments to stay under reporting thresholds. phony invoices, shell companies. The grand jury indicted Pat and 3 others on wire fraud, falsifying federal documents, tax evasion, and conspiracy. I testified in federal court. Simple answers. Honest ones. The jury took 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Pat got 12 years. The others got 8 to 10. The judge ordered full restitution to homeowners. The HOA was dissolved. Assets auctioned off. I didn't keep the cabins. I let a contractor dismantle them. Watched from my porch as the bulldozer scraped up the concrete pads. A former board member named Linda came by one day. Quiet woman. Handed me a flash drive. I voted against it, she said. Pat overruled everyone. Said she had executive authority. The recordings were damning. Pat's voice. No one will check. We'll just say it's communal. I gave the drive to Marisol. More charges. The neighborhood formed a new committee. No more HOA. Just neighbors. They asked me to join. I said no. I like my dogs, my garden, my quiet. One evening I stood on the ridge where the cabins used to be. Grass was coming back. Deer were grazing. My fence line was up again. Cedar posts, no wire. Just a quiet marker. Peace. So tell me, folks, was Pat Harrington just a passionate community leader trying to enhance the neighborhood? Or was she a power-hungry crook who thought rules didn't apply to her? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember, sometimes the loudest person in the room is the one with the most to hide. Word count, 5,012.